Hi, I'm Kieran Sage. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be turning myself into Tobio Kageyama from Haikyuu. This is also a general rule about how I do my Haikyuu makeup because most of it's the same with just slightly differently angled eyeliner or thicker eyeliner depending on the character. So beforehand I already put on my jersey. It's one of the crop top sets that I got off of Amazon. Most of the Haikyuu cosplays I have all of the Karasuno team and a couple of other characters from the other teams, but for most of my Haikyuu ones, I have crop tops except for the, as people like to say, the forgotten trio, Inoshida, Kanoshida, and Narita. So before I get started doing any makeup, I'm going to pop in my contacts. The ones that I'm using right now I think are the My Eye BB Blue. I don't know if they have any specific name besides that, but I have links to the website in my link tree, which is in the description down below. And if you use the code MyLoverSage, no spaces, just MyLoverSage, you can get 20% off your order, and it's pretty cool. Anyways, I'm gonna pop in my contacts, and basically I put in my contacts before I start putting on my makeup because my eyes tend to water just because my eyes are really sensitive and because I stare at screens 24/7. So it's just nice to put them in and let them water, and then once they stop and they're like more normal, and once they start getting comfortable with the lenses in my eye, then I start putting in my makeup so I don't mess up anything on my face. So these are actually not the contacts I used last time. I was asked a couple of times in the comments of the YouTube shorts that I post to do a makeup tutorial on stuff like this. Somebody told me I should make makeup tutorials on my Haikyuu cosplays, and so I decided I was gonna do it with Kageyama, and basically just that is how I do most of my Haikyuu makeup, so I thought it would be about right. These are not the same contacts. The contacts that I used before were Oh My Kitty For You Kiss Blue lenses, and those are also linked. Oh My Kitty For You is also linked in my link tree because I do have like 2 pairs of contacts by them, but I do prefer my IBB, so I'm gonna be using a different pair of contacts. These are just more blue. You can see them a lot better and you can see the color a lot better. They're not as dark as the other ones, which could be a pro or could be a con. I just thought I'd try these out this time with my Kageyama cosplay. I'm having a hard time speaking right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and put them in. So this is me with one in and one out, so I haven't put in one yet, but you can see the difference. The biggest difference is that it makes my eyes look bigger because the iris part of it is a whole bunch bigger. For the most part, it just seems like it brightens up my natural color because my natural color is blue, and it just makes my iris a lot wider, which I like a lot because I don't actually have to put in contacts whenever I do Kageyama. I just do it for the eye effect to make my eyes look bigger. You can kind of see that I'm blinking a little bit more. It's because my eyes trying to get used to the contact. It's just the way that my eyes are. A lot of times my eyes will water really badly if I haven't worn contacts in a while, or if my eyes are really tired. It just depends on what your eyes are like and how sensitive they are. I have some pretty sensitive eyes, and one of my eyes is actually more sensitive than the other. The left one is usually harder to put in contacts than the right one, but as long as it's not like actually painful and it's just like slightly uncomfortable, your eyes you're blinking a little bit more, maybe your eyes are welling up a little bit with tears. It's just, for me, it's just my eyes getting more comfortable with the contact until you can't even tell that they're there, and that's just because of my eyes. But if you physically cannot open your eye after putting in your contacts, you need to take them out as quickly as possible because there's a very high likelihood that there could be salt on your lenses, especially if they had dried out a little bit, which is incredibly dangerous for your eye, and you do not want salt in your eyes. Also, make sure that you are always washing your hands before you put it in contacts, and make sure to change the solution in your contacts every single time that you get rid of it. And what I always do in order to make sure my contacts are pretty okay is, at the very least, once a month I go through all my contacts and dump out the old contact solution and put in new ones, even if I haven't used the contacts recently. And just make sure that if they are starting to dry out, that there's no excess salt left in the solution that is left that hasn't like evaporated. And also, in full transparency, my skin is not nearly as smooth as in most of my YouTube shorts or TikTok videos. You can see I tend to break out here and on my cheeks very often, and I have very red skin, especially right here, because my skin is so light. Whenever I wear foundation, it usually takes away a lot of that. But yeah, my skin is not perfect. I know a lot of people have asked me about that. about how I get my skin so clear. Most of the time my skin is not clear. And I try to be as transparent about that as possible. A lot of it is such intense front lighting paired with really good foundation, which looks very different in person, by the way, and then the filters that TikTok offers. I try to be as transparent as possible. I just like the way that it looks, and I know that's the beauty standards coming out in me, but I don't hate the way my skin looks. It's not perfect, and it's never gonna be perfect. There are gonna be a million reasons why your skin might be breaking out or that you might have some red skin. My skin's never gonna not be a little bit red because of the undertones in my skin and because of how pale I am. And I've come to accept that. Anyways, that was kind of rambly. I am gonna start putting on my base makeup though. So what I start with is an e.l.f. primer. I got a set of 3 of their putty primers. I got the putty primer trio set, and I've used up all the matte, and I've been trying to use up all the luminous because I prefer the poreless, but I haven't bought a huge thing of poreless yet. But I do still have some luminous left, so I'm going to go ahead and use that, but I like to counteract it because my skin is already a little oily in a lot of areas. I like to counteract that by using powder, even though I usually don't use powder most of the time. Whenever I use this primer, I definitely do. I'm just trying to use it up because I hate wasting product, and nobody else I know is going to use it, especially because I'm almost done with it. So I just try to use as much of it up as I possibly can because I don't like wasting my money. But I don't really like this one. I'm gonna buy a huge, like a big thing of the poreless because that's what works best for me after I run out of the luminous, because I'm almost out of the poreless as well, which I think is gonna be the next time that I go to the store. I tend to buy a lot of e.l.f. makeup just because it's cheap, and I think that it works pretty well for what I want to do. As you can see, that made my skin like extra shiny. So after I put on my foundation, I just powder it all down because I'm like, I don't like the shine, but I can't bring myself to not use this. So for my foundation, I use the lightest shade of the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation. I use 102 Fair Porcelain because I'm pretty pale. It does really, really well of covering the redness in my skin, and it's not super duper thick, so it's not like a thick layer on my face. And I use this in day-to-day and cosplay makeup. I use this literally all the time, and it doesn't break me out. It's a big thing because a lot of foundations break me out. My skin is just as sensitive as my eyes are, so yeah. Okay, so now I'm gonna take some sheer e.l.f. setting powder that I've had for so long. I don't know. It's just plain white powder, and I'm almost out of it, but I just take some powder and powder it all down because you can see I'm still really oily looking after putting on my foundation. Sometimes my foundation or my powder settles into the creases of my eyelids, and so I just wipe them out with my fingers. I don't know if there's like a reason why I shouldn't do that, but that's what I do. So next I contour, and I don't actually use any like contouring products. I just use eyeshadow, which isn't good. It's definitely like way too warm for my skin tone, but I don't really care because it looks fine whenever I take TikToks, and that's all I do this makeup for anyways. So I dip into my Morphe 39A palette. It's the Dare to Create 39A palette, and I just take the lightest shade of like this one. You can see it's kind of messier than all the other ones, and I just contour my face. I contour my cheeks, my chin area, and then I take a smaller brush to contour my nose, and my nose contour is also overly dramatic because it looks fine on camera, and it looks better if I am a little bit more dramatic with it, so I don't really care. a small kind of flat brush. I don't even know what kind of brush this is. It might be like a packing brush or something. And then I do a straight line down both sides of my nose, making it as thin as I want it to be. And then I do like a triangle right here without closing off the tip of my nose. And then I'll put a dash of like a highlight there. And I also use eyeshadow for the highlight because it's the only place I highlight anyways. It's in light or beam. I usually use beam just because that's what I've been using for a long time, and I take a dab on my finger and then I'll just, on the very tip of my nose, spread out a little bit horizontally like that, and then that's just the highlight on my nose. I don't use blush or anything, so that's like the base done. And then I usually go into my eyebrows. So I'm just gonna fill it in with black, and it's gonna look a little weird because I'm not wearing my wig yet, but I'm just gonna fill them in with black. Okay, so after my eyebrows, I dip into some brown shadows, and it varies almost every single time I do this makeup, but the process is generally the same, especially for like non-rebel characters. Take like Nishinoya or Tanaka, for example. Theirs is slightly different, and I tend to go a lot darker and more smoky with the eyeshadow, but for the most part, I'll just take a brown shadow and I'll blend it into the crease. And then I'll take the same thing that I use for the highlight on my nose and put it on the top. I do the brown and shimmery thing that I think a lot of people did in the early 2000s, just because it adds enough dimension that I feel is necessary, but it doesn't overpower the eyeliner or anything like that. It's not like a statement, because I'm just trying to fill out the way that my eye looks behind the eyeliner. And the eyeliner is like where I try to be the most expressive in terms of what type of character they are, or their faces or eyes and how they're drawn in the anime. I will say I never elongate my eyes. My goal is usually almost always to make them look bigger because I feel like my eyes are really small. My main palettes right now that I use for like almost every single makeup look is the Morphe 39A Dare to Create palette and the Jaclyn Hill X Morphe palette, just because it's what I've been using since I was probably about 15 or 16 to do my makeup, and I know the colors pretty well and I know how they blend with each other. So what I'm going to take is this area. It just depends. I'm going to take a cool brown and try to blend it into my crease, and that's pretty much the extent of the eyeshadow. Is I'm going to blend some brown into the crease and then put a shimmery shadow in the center and then blend that out. Okay, so that's it for the eyeshadow. I did want to say that the reason why I go so simple with the eyeshadow is because they are volleyball players, and I'm attempting only to make my eyes look more cartoony, so I don't go super crazy with the actual eye makeup, because it's not like anything that they could feasibly wear without sweating it all off. I'm just trying to make it the natural but not natural anime look. That's what I think of whenever I try to do this makeup, even though it doesn't always turn out that way. The rest of it is just finishing off the eyes and then throwing on some lip gloss and putting on the wig. So it's not super duper a lot. So what I do next is I take both of my eyeliner pencils. I have one white and one black. I almost said red for some reason. I have one in black, one in white. And I take the black one and I line my top waterline, and then I take the white one and I line the bottom waterline just to like make them look bigger. After that, I use my e.l.f. liquid liner and I will make a very sharply angled and thick line out of my eyeliner. I don't really know how to explain it. Eyeliner is so unique to you and your eye shape, and I have two slightly different eyes, so it always turns out different each time. I just go in thinking of a specific style that I'm trying to achieve, and oftentimes it doesn't work because my eyes are two slightly different shapes. This eye folds twice in here, so the folds in this eye are different than the one fold in this eye, which makes it a little bit harder for me to do my eyeliner. And it definitely makes it harder for them to look sort of even. You can kind of tell, and you kind of could earlier before I even put any eyeshadow on, how different they are, because the main crease in my eye on this eye goes down so much further than the one crease on this one, because there's two creases. There's one sort of like here, and then there's one that goes all the way across. Anyways, your eyeliner is very, very unique to you, and it just takes a lot of practice to figure out what looks good on your eye shape and what's easiest for you to do in order to achieve the look that you want. In general though, if you're doing like a regular type of eyeliner, you draw a line up and then you draw a line back down, trying to make it like a triangular shape. That's all I've got for you for tips on eyeliner. Honestly, it's just practice. I've spent 4 years trying to do my eyeliner, and sometimes it still doesn't turn out the way that I want it to. It's a learning process, and I'm still learning. So after that, I'll throw on some mascara, and then I'll use my dollar store lashes. No hate to dollar store lashes. I buy some lashes at the Dollar Tree if I can find them, and I'm still on the one pair that I've been using for like 2 or 3 weeks, and they hold up pretty well. And they look pretty good whenever you're trying to do a less dramatic look. They're really good because they're pretty thin. The brand is Ioni, I think. I used the natural light doll ones, and they were $1 again at Dollar Tree. And I like to use them. I have a couple that are more expensive that I bought from Walmart and some from Amazon, I think. So it just depends on what I'm going for, but for my Haikyuu cosplays in particular though, I tend to go pretty thin with my lashes. I don't want a whole bunch of volume because it doesn't look the way that I want it to. I just want to make sure that you can see my lashes, make sure that my eyes look big and cartoony, which I have said a lot, and I don't want them to be super dramatic. Anyway, so I'm gonna do all of what I just told you. So pencil liner, liquid liner, mascara, and then eyelashes. This is my eyelash glue. I'm trying to use this up so I can get some of the brush on. While I'm waiting for the glue on my lashes to dry a little bit so that they're tacky, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my lips. So I use the Too Faced Lip Injection Maximum Plump, and I just slather that on to make my lips glossy. I don't add anything else to my lips. I will say though, the only reason I bought this was because I thought it would be funny, because I have really small lips, and I thought it would be funny for me and my sister to try it out. And we did. My sister thought it burned a lot more than I thought it did, but I don't know, maybe I just have a higher pain tolerance. I don't know. I don't think it makes your lips buzz too badly or like burn because it's supposed to like irritate your lips so they look thicker. It definitely does do that. I don't know how much of the $30-something I paid for it it's worth, but it certainly does what it advertises. Anyways, I'm gonna put some of it on and then I'm gonna put on my lashes. I tell that story every single time I'm doing makeup. Speaking of, if you follow me on TikTok at myloversage, which is my TikTok handle, I tend to go live on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays doing makeup and cosplay every week, although it's about to change in a little bit, I think, for the very purpose that I'm working on a really big project that I'm slowly working towards. So on Fridays I won't be streaming, but for now, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, I live stream me doing my makeup and I just hang out, talk to people, ban a lot of people, because people are on TikTok are weird. I don't know, people are weird. Anyways, lip gloss. So that's it for the makeup. All I have to do is put on the wig now, which it has come to my attention that some people don't know how to put on a wig cap. So I'm gonna show you very quickly. If you have a net type, which I always wear net type, it's the easiest to put on and it's the most secure to my head. So I always use a net type. Sometimes I put on one of these, which are just caps. Sometimes I put one of those on over this. This is just for costume wigs, like you're not wearing them constantly. But these type, you put on almost like a headband. So you put it on like that. You do put it on like a headband. And make sure that the line that has the band around it is at the top so that you can put it around the base of your hairline. So it's sticking like that. And then you pull up the back of your hair, grab the other edge underneath, and you pull it up like that. See, I don't have a lot of hair, so I don't braid mine down or anything. So I just put mine in there and it doesn't change the shape of my wig very much. And then after that, if you want to, you don't have to put one of these on. Sometimes people do because it makes it easier. I usually don't, especially if my wig has clips. That way the clips can just go through the holes in the netted one. But you would just pull it on like that once you have that on. And ta-da! You're bald. Anyways, I'm gonna put on my Kagyama wig now. And I'm Kageyama. I like this a lot. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. I would really, really appreciate it. And you'll get a lot of different varied content from me. I do about one makeup video a month so far, simply because I don't have enough time, but I do about one per month unless I just decide to record a process. If you have a suggestion for a video you want to see of me doing a tutorial for any characters that I've done or haven't done yet, might even do that, you can for sure leave a comment and I'll see it and I'll consider it. There's no guarantee, but if it is somebody that I've done before and you've seen in my YouTube shorts, my TikTok, or my Instagram reels, there's a very high likelihood that I'll do their makeup again. For the most part, this is all of the Haikyuu characters' makeup that I do. I do it slightly darker looks for Nishinoya, Tanaka, and sometimes a couple other characters if I'm feeling fancy. The eyeliner shape does change pretty often, but again, that's not just because of their eye shape. It's also because my skill varies. I watch a lot of anime, and if you have any anime suggestions that you want to see me do things from, leave them in the comments below. I very greatly enjoy any comments that I get, and yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next Friday. Bye!